Hi guys, welcome to the 7th sense, and in this video I'm going to show you how to force a card, not physically but mentally, using just a fan of cards. Okay, so before I begin, I just want to mention two things. First of all, as with all the psychological and mental forces, this might not work 100%, but it will work about 7 or 8 times out of 10. Okay, so I will actually go over a few outs and how to do a little bit of fishing towards the end of the videos. Okay, so that should give you a confidence to go ahead and actually try it. Okay, and the second thing is, when I actually do explain the technique, you might think that I'm just stating a theory and it's not very practical. Well, all I can say is just go ahead and try it and see if it works. Okay, now just to give you an example, I will actually leave the link to a performance video of Davidblaine actually using this force. Okay, having said that, let's actually get into the explanation. Now, the first thing about this force is your attitude. Okay, now what I mean by that is, you don't want to go ahead with this force like, okay, let me show how clever I am, or let me just fool you. You know, you don't want that kind of attitude. Okay, you don't want to challenge your audience as to, okay, catch me if you can, let me show how clever you are, I am smarter than you. You don't want to go to spectators with that kind of attitude. Now, obviously that goes with every other trick as well. Okay, but especially in this case. Okay, so you don't want to challenge your audience. Okay, you want a friendly, good connection with the audience. Okay, and the second thing is, as I said at the beginning, what we are going to do is we are going to force the card using a fan. Now, there is one thing about the fan. Okay, when you fan a deck of cards, you know, it has a kind of openness to it. For example, it feels that it's out of control because it's held just by one hand. It feels like they can see almost every card and so on. So the spectators has a sense of freedom. Okay, sense of complete free choice. Okay, and also if you add the spectators, if you give the deck to the spectators shuffle at the beginning, it just kind of eliminates all the psychological barriers of the force, because they really feel that it's all free choice and it really doesn't matter. And that's the attitude, and that's the message that you want to convey to the audience before you actually begin the force. Now, another thing about the fan is that if you have tried this, you will notice that whenever you fan a deck of cards, the spectator, although it is very open, spectator, if you actually go ahead and ask someone to pick a card, they will almost always pick the card somewhere from this part of the deck. Okay, they won't go very near the top, they won't go very near the bottom. Now, the reason for that is, first of all, it's a matter of convenience, because the cards here are easy to pick, and also because for some reason they feel that cards near here and towards the end it's kind of obvious. Okay, they feel like that. So in the fan force, when you force mentally, you are actually going to exploit those two properties. Okay, so I will just give you two methods, the first one and the second one. First one is a little bit more bold, the second one is almost very certain. Okay, what you want to say is, you want to say to them that just look at a card. Okay, look at one card or a card. Okay, you don't want to say that look at any card and overemphasize that. Okay, at least until they have actually picked one. Okay, after they have picked one, you can play around with the words and everything. Okay, but before that, just tell them to just look at a card. Okay, that's the kind of message you want to send. Okay, so anyway, what you're going to do is, you will fan the deck and you will look at the fan yourself, and you will see not the card that actually grabs your attention. Okay, in this case, maybe it's the 7 of hearts. Now, the idea is that if you put the deck in the same line of vision that you actually looked at, okay, same line of vision that you actually looked at towards the spectator, and tell them to look at a card, most probably the card that grabs your attention will be the same one that grabs the spectator's attention. So that is the idea of the first force. Now, sometimes it feels like it's a very bold and it probably won't work, but actually it works a lot of times. Okay, now let's talk about how can we actually make this a little bit more certain. Okay, so here's the second variation of the same thing. Okay, again you will start with the shuffle deck, and then you will actually fan the cards. Okay, now what you're gonna do is you're gonna mentally divide the cards. You won't fan the cards towards yourself, not yet. Okay, so just now is the face down fan, and you will mentally divide the deck into few different segments. Okay, say 4 segments. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're gonna show the fan towards the spectator and tell them to look at a card. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna follow the eyes of the spectator. Now if you notice the eyes, you will know about where they are actually looking at. Okay, so let's say for example they are looking towards this part of the deck. Okay, now once they have chosen the card, you will simply say few pattern lines, and after that you will simply turn the card towards yourself and look at it yourself. Okay, and not the card which actually not the segment that actually the spectators was looking, and you will note the card that actually calls your attention. So maybe it's the 3 of clubs. Okay, and what you're going to do is you will close the fan, and what you will do is you will simply cut the card, okay, at the card that actually grabbed your attention, okay, to the face or to the front. Okay, now what this does is most probably the card they are actually thought of or looked at is actually this card. Okay, or this might be this card. Okay, now one thing that I am sure is that they are definitely thinking about any 4 of these or any 4 of these. Okay, so you have now a thought of card between about 8 cards. Okay, so you have narrowed it down to about 8 cards. Now if you think about it, it's really strong because it's like a card that they thought of. Okay, and after the fan you can actually emphasize this. You can say that you could have thought of any card, but you looked at any card that you wanted. Okay, and you can through their words you can emphasize the freedom and you know, make it a real big deal. So now you know the force. That is the force. Now trust me, almost always the card that grabbed your attention will be the card that they choose. Okay, so and from here you can go into any type of fishing. For instance, in this case, if I look at the cards and maybe I can say, is it a diamond? Okay, and if he says yes, then it could be the ace of diamonds. Okay, and if he says no, then maybe I can go, but it is a red card. But if he still says no, then I know it's either the 8 of clubs or any of these black cards. Okay, and if they say yes, it could be king or the jack. Okay, so and then you can proceed to again find the cards and all. But that's not very pretty method. Okay, but it does work at certain circumstances if you have the right attitude. Okay, and a little bit of acting as well. But let me just show you this method. This is the best method. Okay, so now you have narrowed it down to 8 cards. Okay, you know that it's either the top 4 cards or at the bottom 4 cards. What you're gonna do is you're gonna shuffle the cards, and during the shuffle you simply add any method you like, 2 indifferent cards to the face of the deck. Now you will actually tell the spectators that I am going to spread through the cards. Okay, and if you saw your card, I want you to look at the deck, and if you see your card, try not to react, and I will be actually looking at your body language. Okay, so at this point you can go ahead and spread the cards very slowly, and obviously showing these 4 cards, but keep spreading. Okay, and once you reach about half of the deck, you tell to the spectator that I have a feeling that you actually already saw your card. Now if he says yes, then you know the selected card is among these 4 cards. Okay, these 4 cards, the bottom 2 cards are the ones you added. Okay, you know the cards are amongst these 4 cards. Now if he says no, then you know the selected cards are amongst the top 4 cards. Now this is a strategy that I use in a trick called out of sight, out of mind. It's a divergence trick, or a variation of a divergence trick. So anyway, you will know that it's near the top. Okay, Now at this point, what you will do is, let's assume that it is somewhere near the top. You know that it's somewhere near the top, and it will definitely be amongst these 4 cards. So this is what you're going to do from here on. You will simply memorize the values of these cards. Okay, in this case Jack, 8, Ace and 10. Simply memorize the values, and you will take the deck behind the back, and you simply take the top card, okay, and then place it to the bottom, okay, or into the center, okay, anywhere you like. Okay, so you place it into the center face down, and the second card you will take it, an 8, and place it reversed in the center, okay, just like this. So Jack is lost, Jack of hearts, remember that card, okay, and the second card is actually going face up in the center, okay, and the next card you will simply place it on the bottom. Okay, now you will hand the deck, you will be doing this behind your back, okay, and you will bring the deck out and hand the deck to the spectator and ask them to hold it, and you will ask them to repeat the name of the card in their mind. Okay, now what you're going to do is, you will as they are repeating in their mind, you will simply start saying Jack of hearts, Jack of hearts, Jack of hearts, Jack of hearts. Now if their selection was actually the Jack of hearts, they will start reacting, okay, and you will know, and they will also know that you somehow got their card. Okay, now if they don't, you will ask them to name their card. Okay, so if they named the Ace of diamonds, you can simply ask them to turn their card, and you will see that their card is actually staring at their face, right? And if they said the 8 of clubs, again it's a miracle, because you can spread and show that one card is reversed and it is the 8 of clubs. And if they said the 10 of spades, right, you can ask them to lift their hand and show that the card is at the top. So that is one out, okay, but there are several. If you think about it, you can come up with methods to end the trick, but anyway, I hope that this fan force is really good, okay, dividing the fan into segments. It really works, and you should actually go ahead and try it yourself to actually understand how good it is. Okay, so anyway, I hope you liked the video. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. I hope it was helpful, and I hope you will get a chance to actually try it in front of an audience. So good luck with that. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I will see you next time.